Welcome to the latest edition of Catholic World. And this is the place where I'm going to bring you events, happenings, controversies, things of interest to Catholics all over the world. Now, without further ado, let's get the show on the road.
November is here. All Saints' Day and All Souls' Day were observed, all over the Catholic world, on the 1st and 2nd days of November.
In the Philippines, on All Saints' Day, parishes across the country hosted a parade of saints, inviting churchgoers to dress up as holy men and women of God. The parade of saints was celebrated in various parishes across the country. Participants were encouraged to research their chosen saint and dress up as him or her and present their favorite quote from the holy figure. Children, as young as 1 year old, and seniors alike, participate in the popular Philippine celebration.
In India, the event of the year, in Goa, will be the exposition of the relics of Saint Francis Xavier. The solemn opening will be on 21st November 2024.
Dear friends, a multitude of people flocked to the tiny state of Goa to pay homage to the faithful servant of God, Saint Francis Xavier. Saint Francis Xavier preached the good news of Christ with great zeal and dedication, showing the path of salvation.
Sisters and brothers, we shall be having yet another solemn exposition of the sacred relics of Saint Francis Xavier, for whom we have such a great devotion. The genuine fruitfulness of the exposition will depend very much on the seriousness of our spiritual preparation for this great faith event. I invite all the members of our church in Goa to prepare themselves spiritually at the personal, family, parish, and diocesan levels.
The solemn Holy Eucharist will be celebrated at 9:30 a.m. and will be followed by the procession carrying the sacred relics from the basilica to the cathedral. Catholic dioceses across the world are planning and preparing for the Jubilee year 2025 with the theme Pilgrims of Hope.
We've all attended funerals. We've seen bishops laid to rest. We've seen priests laid to rest. But have you ever attended a funeral where the deceased is seated on a throne for the whole ceremony? The Catholic Church is truly universal and diverse, and this is a very important ceremony for the Eastern Rite people. So watch out for this next report.
Catholicos, Abun Mar Baselios Thomas, the spiritual head of the Indian Syrian Orthodox Church's Jacobite faction, died on October 31. He was 95. He was undergoing treatment for age-related ailments in Kerala state, where the Damascus-based church has more than 2 million followers. The Catholic Bishops' Conference of India, CBCI, said his death has left a void in the Christian community. Kerala Chief Minister, Pinarayi Vijayan, said that Catholicos Thomas dedicated his life to the service of humanity.
Of the Malangara Jacobite Syrian Orthodox Church in India. Through his spiritual leadership for more than 2 decades, Catholicos Abur Mar Baselios Thomas I promoted and sustained the spiritual life of Malankara Jacobite Syrian Orthodox Church in India. He strengthened the witness of his church locally and globally through promoting and consolidating dialogues with other churches and supporting ecumenical engagement. Throughout his leadership, his beatitude ordained approximately 350 priests and 13 bishops and played a pivotal role in the establishment of various educational institutions and hospitals. His beatitude Catholicos Abun Mor Baselios Thomas I of the Malankara Jacobite Syrian Orthodox Church in India remains in the prayerful memory of the Church as an inspired spiritual leader who committed himself to a common and prophetic voice of Christians in India.
The Vatican has urged Bangladesh's interim government to make the Constitutional Reform Commission inclusive by adding representatives from religious and ethnic minority communities. The Bangladesh government, led by Nobel laureate Professor Muhammad Yunus, recently formed a 9-member commission to recommend changes to the 1972 Bangladesh Constitution. However, all the commission members are Bengali Muslims, including its lone woman, Professor Sumaya Khanner. Last week, Archbishop Kevin Randall, the Apostolic Nuncio of the Vatican to Bangladesh, wrote to Yunus. He suggested that the interim government should continue to represent all citizens of Bangladesh, not just the majority.
If the Holy Father would elevate you to a cardinal, one who can vote in the next papal election, would you refuse? Watch this.
Catholics across Indonesia were shocked when a bishop turned down his elevation to cardinal. Pope Francis had named Franciscan Bishop Pascalis Bruno Suker of Bagar as one of the 21 new cardinals. But Bishop Pascalis politely refused the position. Pope Francis has accepted his request.
Pascalis Bruno is the bishop who resigned to become a cardinal. He's the secretary of the Indonesian Bishops' Conference. He also heads the Diocese of Bogor. He is a Franciscan and is 62 years old. He asked the Pope not to become a cardinal because he thinks he still needs to grow in his priestly life and in his service to the Church and the people of God. Pope Francis agreed. The bishop resigned after the Pope made the public announcement. The College of Cardinals will have a new Italian member. He is the Archbishop of Naples. The Vatican announced the Pope's decision on the afternoon of November 4th. The future cardinal has been in office since the end of 2020. In the past, he stood out for his work with the needy. He dedicated more than 20 years to helping people dependent on drugs. At the Angelus on October 6th, the Pope announced the creation of 21 cardinals, though one of them resigned. With the addition of the Archbishop of Naples, as of the weekend of December 7th, the number of cardinal electors will return to 141.
The Diocese of Buxar played host to some 245 young people from across Bihar. The Patna Jesuit Youth Commission and Bihar ICUF organized Magus 2024 at Ara. The theme was Instill Faith and Expel Fear. Some 50 participants from the Patna unit of ICUF attended. ICUF stands for All India Catholic University Federation. Earlier, the St. Xavier's College unit of ICUF were represented at the national camp of the All India Catholic University Federation. The national camp was held in Calcutta, West Bengal.
Have you ever heard of Catholics wanting to be unbaptized? Well, some time ago, Pope Francis said a few things in Belgium which riled up the younger Catholics so much that they actually applied to get unbaptized. Fact stranger than fiction.
Del tema ecologico.
Pope Francis's messages in Belgium caused discontent among some Catholics in the country. The Pope was clear about abortion, defining doctors who practice it as hired killers and praising the figure of King Baudouin.
Il re è stato un coraggioso perché davanti a una legge di morte lui non l'ha firmato e si è dimesso. Ci vuole coraggio, no? Ci vuole un politico con pantaloni per fare questo, no?
Also, what Pope Francis said about women at the University of Louvain raised protests.
Donna è accoglienza feconda, cura, dedizione vitali. Per questo è più importante la donna che l'uomo. Ma è brutto quando la donna vuol fare l'uomo. No, è donna. E questo è pesante, è importante.
There was no need to wait for the Pope to leave Belgium. The next day, a group of students signed a text describing part of his speech as deplorable.
Questo comunicato è stato fatto nel momento che io parlavo. È stato prefatto e questo non è morale.
This wave of dissent has culminated in 525 Belgian Catholics requesting apostasy. The term means to renounce or abandon the faith. For all practical purposes, what they are asking for is debaptizing. This is what one of the Catholics who has led the protests says. Launched on a wave of discontent, the idea of renouncing church membership and asking to be debaptized has clearly aroused widespread anger. I hope that this will lead the Church to reconsider the various questions we raised in our letter, and that, in the future, it will adopt a more progressive line of conduct, in keeping with the evolution of the world. This sign of protest came in the form of a letter to the Apostolic Nuncio, the Archbishop of Brussels, and the prelates of the other Belgian dioceses.
What was your reaction to that story? Do leave a comment down below. Now, let's move on.
The Commission for Social Communication of the Diocese of Mangalore has announced the successful launch of more than 45 new parish websites. These free websites came up following the recent No Code, No Cost parish website workshop, which was held in October. This is a significant milestone for the Diocese of Mangalore, with now approximately 80 parishes among 124 maintaining an active online presence.
The Salesians of Don Bosco have begun to empower young automotive mechanic trainees for the emerging boom market of electric vehicles. Don Bosco Mondo, a Salesian organization in Germany, has launched new e-mobility training at Salesian vocational schools in India. This will address environmental and air pollution. It will also tackle the high youth unemployment by providing training on maintenance and repair of electric vehicles. The pilot short courses were launched in Mumbai. This initiative is supported by BMZ Federal Ministry for Economic Cooperation and Development in Germany. With this new training, Salesian students will be sought after experts in a growing market. Youth, who are on the fringes of society and have hardly had a chance to live a self-determined life, are becoming shining pioneers for a sustainable future for themselves, their families, and ultimately for the whole world.
That's all we have for the show. We don't want it to get too long and get boring. If you liked the show, please spread the word around. Until the next time we meet, this is me, Frank Krishna, wishing you a blessed week ahead.